Hello.
Hello สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Great. Questions for us for this exciting day?
What do you call place for like big hole
Big what?
river เขื่อน like big place for water for make
To
make พลังงาน energy
a dam.
full
Yeah.
like waterfall
Yeah,
and
it's called a dam.
mean เขื่อน
Yeah, I
Dam.
think so. Yeah. Mhm.
I
That's
had a
where.
bridge.
That's where. Remember, I was.
bridge
Yeah, it's
Like
not a bridge, but you can usually walk across the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
of the dam. Yeah, that's where I was. Remember in the story when I was with the lady boys, they were following me around. That was at the dam in Thailand.
dam
Yeah, it's called a dam.
like dam
Sounds the same, but yeah, not the same.
right just
No,
what you
but anyway, different word, but sounds the same. Yes, dam and
DAM
DAMN. Anyway, that's a dam.
okay
Yeah.
thank you
What, were you watching a movie about a dam? Were you watching a movie about a dam?
no I went to a dam today
Oh, you went to a dam today. Where's the? I don't know. There's no dams here. Where? What dam is that?
outside the town
Okay. What's it called?
เขื่อนแม่กวง
Oh, that's
ดอย
probably
สะเก็ด
okay. Is it big?
yeah very big had to breed like
To
to breed
Brit
breed
Brit
breed
Brit.
BRID
Mhm.
what you say
Bridges.
bridges
Yeah, bridges. Across the dam. Okay.
and car and the cars and motorcycle can use that way
Okay. And
beautiful
okay.
But-
Why did you go there?
my friends
They said, "Hey,
They-
let's go to the dam."
yeah
Okay.
they bought me
They
bought
brr,
brought me to
they dragged you there. Like, I don't want to go. And they're like, "Come on, let's go to the dam."
one of my friends said we will go to my friend's new restaurant
Restaurant.
and after that we will go to help another friend to set cake to a coffee shop at that place at Doi Saket
Send cake in the
a
mail.
lot of cake dessert
Yeah, you're gonna send it.
they have to drive
Oh, okay, not send.
What
No,
you
no,
call-
no, no.
take
No.
to get
Deliver.
deliver
Yeah, it's
online
not send.
delivery
Send is not the same. Send, you do not go with the package. You can't send it.
deliver
You deliver. Yeah.
and that place had the dam
Okay.
we didn't help
That damn dam.
help my friend we just one of my friends just friends just tried to find the place to travel so that
Tried to find.
a place to relax
No. Sentence is okay, but no.
she just wanted to travel. Travel.
No, she wanted to find somewhere to go.
She just wanted to find some place to go.
Right. Anyway, that's Sifty's exciting trip to the dam. Did you see anything there?
People.
Okay.
A lot of cars.
Water?
Cars. Big.
Not big.
Big hole. Not
No.
hole. I don't know. What do you call? Dam.
Yeah, a dam, right. But what else? A big...
River.
Yeah, there's a river, right?
Big mountain.
I don't know if it's a mountain.
A lot of mountain.
Yeah, right, around the dam.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw water and a mountain.
Good view.
Okay. Did you take pictures for us to show?
Yeah, I have. But
Okay,
I turned
great.
off already.
Okay. Anyway, any other exciting news from the dam?
We went there to drink.
Drink. To drink.
And we bought some drink from the market.
Brought or bought?
Bought
Okay.
to the dam.
No.
Yeah.
Brought means carried.
We bought things
Yeah. And then we have to talk about the transportation.
from the market, and then we went to the dam.
Yes, exactly.
After we took the pictures. After we took pictures, we found some place to drink,
Okay.
and talk.
Okay. And it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, how long were you there for?
5, 6, 7, 8, 4 or more. 4 hours.
For more than 4 hours. Okay. How many people?
4.
Okay. Great. So it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 to 10?
If I can drink, if I could drink, probably
100.
8.
100. Okay, great.
But I couldn't. That's just 7. 7%.
Okay, so any other questions?
No.
This is going to be rough. It's time
Rough
for another episode of
John's painful blah 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 history.
Lessons, right? Full of
I like
lies,
I like
racism,
I like when you
Sibty, yawning, forgotten dates, mix-ups, wrong statements. I remember I was watching the show. I said during the Einstein one that Oppenheimer was from Germany.
but not.
That was funny. I have a lot of notes here, and it's very difficult. Sometimes I don't have enough room, so I put them on the same line, and then I make a mistake. Anyway, if you want to learn a real history lesson, you have to watch a history show. My history lessons are to teach you what American people think, what most American people think, not what necessarily is real. Okay, who do you think this is?
I don't know.
Do you want to show people first? Probably the
But
picture is too small.
I think I could see this guy.
Not could. I think I
I saw. I see. I have seen him before.
Of course, yes, he's very well known. Anyway, this is, of course, what is his real name? Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, but everyone knows him as Lenin.
Lenin.
Yeah, his name. He's called Lenin. Russian people say Lenin. But anyway, he is not American. He is Russian. From Russia. He was born in... So this is my explanation of Lenin and communism. Right? Okay, so Lenin was born in 1870. So remember, in the United States, 1870 was like the Wild West. Remember we learned about the Wild West? I don't remember. Where's the picture of the Wild West? Wild West, right? In the United States, kind of almost the end of the Wild West, but still in the Wild West. But in Russia, Lenin was born. And he was very smart. He got very good grades in school. He was a good student. He was very smart. He went to school in a small town in Russia. It was very cold in a lot of places in Russia. I should have had a drink of vodka before this lesson. We joke in America that Russian people like to drink a lot. So that's why I'm joking about that. His brother, he had a brother called Alexander.
Alexander.
Alexander. And his brother tried to kill the Tsar. The Tsar is the Russian word for king of Russia. They call him a Tsar. And in English, we take this name also. Probably it's Russian. His brother tried to kill the Tsar of Russia. And of course, he was arrested and he was killed in prison in Russia. I think he was hanged with a rope. I think it was called Salzburg, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Lenin was 17 years old, and he was very angry at the government and the police, and he said, I'm going to take revenge for my brother.
Take revenge.
He said, I'm going to fight for my brother. He was angry for his brother being killed. So he went to school, he went to university, he went to college. Him and his family moved to a few different cities in Russia when he was younger. One of them was called Kazan, and Lenin found Karl Marx's writings. Marx is the writer of a very famous book called The Communist Manifesto. And this book was written to describe his idea of communism. Okay, so what's communism? We'll get to that shortly. Anyway, so Lenin found this book, these probably a few books by Karl Marx. And he read these books and he said, okay, communism is great. We need to have communism in Russia. So he tried to teach all of his friends about communism. He tried to teach his family about communism, and he told them all about how great communism was and how great communism was going to be. His family moved to another city, Samara, and that's where Lenin tried to convert his friends to to communism and to teach everyone he knew about communism. While he was there, there was a famine. A famine means there's no food. The weather's really bad and people die. There's no food. I don't think they have rice in Russia, but potatoes or wheat or whatever. There's no corn. I don't think they have corn, but there's no food, and so people die. It's called a famine. There was a famine, and Lenin's family was not poor. They had enough money to eat, but he said that the famine was good because it made poor people angry, and then they would want to fight the government. So he thought that the famine was a good thing and that it would help people to get angry so that they would change Russia. After that, he graduated from university probably, and in 1895 he went to Switzerland to meet with socialists. Communism and socialism are kind of similar, I think it's better if I explain it after this. So he met with these socialists or communists who were all hiding because their governments didn't really like them. At that time, and still now in the United States, if you say you're a communist, people will get angry. Not in all countries. In some countries it's a good thing, but at that time, people who were communist, they had to hide and they had to secretly meet. So him and his friends and these socialists or communists, they had a secret meeting and they talked about how to make communism great in Russia and in Europe and everywhere in the world. So what is communism? Communism is a type of, I guess I have to explain it first because otherwise you won't know what we're talking about. So communism is a type of economy. What's an economy? Economy is all of the money in the country. So Potato, Bangkok Bank, your mom's business, our show, we buy cameras, the mall, right? People buy and sell rice. Everyone working and making money and selling things and buying things. All of this together is called an economy. Economy. That's called an economy. There are different kinds of economies. Mainly we have communism and capitalism. In Thai, I think you call communism, but capitalism, I wrote down the word, is ne tung or something, right?
Again.
Ne tung. Something like that. Nai tung, tang, or something like that. Anyway, that's capitalism. But communism is called the same thing. Probably that means that Thai people probably have a better idea of capitalism than communism if you took the word, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so there's a couple types of economies. There could be more. You could have like maybe an anarchy society or something, or maybe a barter economy. But mostly there's capitalism and there's communism. Okay? In capitalism, that's what most people understand, right? You make a business, you sell whatever you want if you can, or you have a job, you sing, you try to make money. That's capitalism. You try to make a car, or you make a sword and you try to sell it. You make a computer if you can. You draw a picture if you can, and you try to sell it. If people want it, they give you money. If they think it's garbage, then you get nothing. That's capitalism. In communism, the government owns everything. It's like a huge business. They own the land, all of the factories, all of the farms, and they give you a job to work in the company. So the benefit is, the good thing is, everyone has a job because the government owns everything, so they can give you a job. So there's no poor people because everyone can have a job. Nobody's really rich. Everyone is poor, but everyone has basic things. They usually have a small apartment, one fridge, one pair of shoes. They produce things in a simple way. There's no expensive ones and there's no cheap ones.
Have the same life.
Yeah.
People.
So, like, if you go to the store in a communist country, there's not like a really expensive fridge and a really poor one. Everyone has the same fridge because the government gives you a fridge. So, the good thing is that everyone has a job. Everyone gets paid. The government, when you're a kid, you grow up in school and the government says, okay, you're good at art, so we'll give you a job doing propaganda posters. And we pay you and you get some bread and a place to live and a horse if you need one or whatever, the basic things that you need. In capitalism, you have to make your own business. If you do make a good business, then you take everything. So the problem in capitalism is that everyone tries to make money, but some people are really, really good at it, like Sipti's mom, and then the rest of us are not good, so we have nothing. So in capitalism, some people start to get really, 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 really rich, and everyone else has nothing. And so people get angry, and they say, okay, we gotta do something else. So people thought a good way to fix it would be to make communism. So the government owns everything, and they give everyone a job, right? Okay, so then those are basically what we have. So after that, Lenin read the books of Marx. It's called a Communist Manifesto. Probably he had a lot of other writings. And Lenin read those books. He learned about communism. He said, this is perfect. This is what we need in Russia. This is going to fix all of our problems. So he moved to St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is a very famous city in Russia. And he studied law there. He studied to be a lawyer in school. He was secretly trying to stop Sipti from yawning, but he failed.
Sorry.
Oh, no, okay, sorry. So Sipti's yawning, but that's okay. He was trying to teach people about communism, and of course the police didn't really like his ideas, and so they watched him, and eventually they caught him and arrested him for trying to teach people about communism and change the government.
Lenin.
Yeah. And so he spent 14 weeks in prison, and he was sent to eventually to Siberia when he was 27. So Siberia is in Russia. It's very, very cold there. There's no cities. It's just forest.
Same type of dog, Siberia.
Type of what?
Dog. Siberia.
I don't know. Dog.
Big dog.
Oh no, that's a husky.
A long hair.
Yeah, that's a husky.
Blue eye.
Blue
eye.
Blue
eyes.
Right. That's a Siberian husky. Yeah, they're from Siberia. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't sent to a gulag, but he was imprisoned in Siberia. in Russia, they used to send criminals to Siberia to work or to build roads or mines or something. And they called them gulags later, probably after Lenin's death. But a gulag is a famous word in Russian and in English. It means like a horrible prison where you don't have anything to eat and you get beaten all the time and you can't leave. Usually you have to do some horrible job until you die. It's called a gulag.
Like kill other people.
No, it's like a prison. But you have to work.
Terrible job.
Usually, it's not a job, but it's usually something that no one else wants to do, like building roads across the forest or mining for something.
Hard.
Yeah, but they don't have the right clothes or anything, so they usually just die. And usually they just try to get rid of criminals by putting them in
Another way to kill them.
Yeah, exactly. Just make them work to death, doing something really hard. So anyway, Lenin was not in a gulag, but a gulag is very well known in America and in Russia. It's a horrible prison. Usually people joke like, well, you better be good or you're going to the gulag or something. It's a joke like you're going to be killed in some horrible prison. Anyway, so Lenin was not in a gulag, but he was sent to a jail in Siberia, and it wasn't really that horrible. He read a lot of books there, and he learned about communism, and he wrote all of his ideas, and he decided that he was going to work really hard to become a great communist and make the world a great place. So after he was released, he moved to London, and him and his wife published a newspaper called Iskra, which is Russian for spark. Spark is when you have a lighter and you that thing that happens before the fire. The thing that happens before the fire is called a spark.
Oh.
So you
Say.
that's called a spark. So he was thinking that this newspaper was going to light people like a spark and teach them how to make the world a great place. He thought that the newspaper would be a spark that would start a fire that would change the world. So in 1903, him and the communist groups met, and they decided about what they were going to do, how they were going to make...
Communist group.
Mm-hmm. Question? Question?
For make book.
Not for.
To make book.
Not a book. They just met. They had a meeting.
That names people.
No.
Or picks company.
No, communist groups.
Oh.
It's the people who believe in communism. They met together, right? So remember, people didn't like communists then, even then, and these people, including Lenin, they had to meet in secret to talk about what they were going to do, how they were going to make communism, how they were going to make a communist government. Okay? So there were two kinds. There were two groups in the meeting. There were the Bolsheviks, which is a Russian word, it means majority, and Mensheviks, which means minority. Lenin was in the Bolshevik party, he said. Everyone agreed with him, and so he called his group the Bolsheviks. That's what they called their...
bullshit.
Well, but it's a Russian word, it's not English, it's Bolsheviks.
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 Bullshit.
Bolsheviks.
Bolshevik.
Bolsheviks.
Yes.
So if you ever watch a video or hear anything about Russia, you'll hear about the Bolsheviks. That means the group that Lenin was in. Anyway, in 1905, Russia lost a war to Japan. Russia fought Japan, and Russia lost, and a lot of people were killed. And Lenin said, "This is because of the government. They're not doing a good job, and they don't know what they're doing, and all the poor people are suffering. So anyway, after that, there were protesters who started to march in. Do you know what protesters are?
I can't remember.
So if you go outside with a sign and you say, I want more money from John.
Okay.
I'll shoot you. I'll like, get out of here.
Protester.
Then you have to have protesters. You have to have many people to be a protester. You can't be just one protester. So in Russia there were a lot of protesters fighting for better working conditions. So it was poor people. They said, I don't want to work in this place anymore. I don't get any money. I want more money. And so the police killed everyone, and it was called Bloody Sunday on 1905. It's very famous.
Police kill everyone.
Not everyone, but a lot of the people who were protesting. So anyway, 1,000 people were killed, 500 people were injured. Not everyone, but 1,000 people were killed. They call it Bloody Sunday in Russia. Anyway, after that, in October of 1905, the Council, or in Russian they call it Soviet. We used to call the Russians Soviets.
Soviet.
But in Russian, the word is council. It means like a group of people who decide things. The Council, or Soviet, met for the first time. That was Lenin's group, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe he wasn't a part of it. Maybe that was Lenin Trotsky or something. I'm not sure. I don't really do a lot of research for this, as you can see. I'm just explaining the basic things. Anyway, they met and they decided to have a strike, another strike in St. Petersburg to demand better money and better working conditions for everyone. By the end of October of that year, everyone in the whole country, not in the whole country, but maybe in the whole city, was on strike. All the companies were closed down, and the economy was losing money. And so the Tsar had to meet with the people from the companies, not from the companies, the poor people who were working, who were on strike, and to negotiate with them to give them better wages. At the end of 1905, most people who were on strike got killed, and the leaders who said we're going to go on strike, like Lenin, but not him at that time, the Soviet leaders, they were all sent to Siberia, to prison. So they got everyone to strike, to protest, and the police killed them and took the leaders and sent them to jail, just like before, including Leon Trotsky. Then, after that, World War I started in 1914, and the Soviet groups, the communist groups, couldn't really do anything. Russia was fighting in the war and lost a lot of people fighting in World War I, in World War II, and Lenin fled to Switzerland to stay there during the war. After the World War, people in Russia knew how to use weapons for the first time. So because they had to go fight in the war, they knew how to use guns and weapons. So they were trained in military tactics. So it was easy for them to fight the police because a lot of them had already fought in wars. So they knew how to use guns, they knew how to use weapons. And so after that, they started to fight with the police, and they started to take over factories and businesses, and Russia fell into revolution. Lenin came back from Finland. He was in Finland, and he returned to Russia in 1914, and he became the leader of the provincial government. Okay? So, that is how Lenin became the leader of Russia. Okay? So, of course, he was a communist believer, and so they built one of the first communist countries that had not only a communist government, but a communist economy as well, which is not that common nowadays. So there are still some communist countries in the world. Cuba is considered a communist country. Laos is a communist country. Vietnam, China, North Korea. Now you might say, John, I've been to Laos. Laos is a beautiful country. People are very nice. It's nothing like you say. You don't know what you're talking about. Laos is only, I believe, a communist government, not a communist economy like China. China is a communist government. It's not a communist economy anymore. So it's a different thing. It's not the same as what Russia was at this time. Okay? So, back to communism and capitalism. So, in the United States, we think that the United States is capitalist. It's not exactly true, but that's what we think. We think that the United States is capitalist, and during this time, after World War II, there was a Cold War against the communists. Okay? So after you remember World War II, after Hitler, after World War II, okay, the Soviet Union, Russia, was very, very strong. They had a huge army. They have a lot of military. They had a lot of people. They had a lot of technology, and they were very, very, very strong. And they built this communist society after World War II, after Lenin died. And so the United States was capitalist, and people said, okay, we have to fight communism. So in America, people mostly don't like communism. In other countries, it's not bad. If you go to Japan and you say, I'm a communist, people say, okay, that's cool. If you're in Russia and you say, I'm a communist, people say, okay, that's cool. In America, if you said, I'm a communist, probably if you told a policeman in America, I'm a communist, they're not going to arrest you, but they'll probably write your name and say, okay, well, okay. In America, being a communist is not okay because of what happened after Lenin. Okay, so after Lenin, the Soviet Union, Russia, became really, really strong. It was a group of many, many countries, not just Russia. Ukraine and Latvia, Estonia, Kazakhstan. There were a lot of countries that combined together to make what was called the Soviet Union. So remember, Soviet means council, Union means group. So they made a huge group of countries, and it was really, really strong and really, really powerful. The United States was scared, of course, because
Soviet Union is usually communist, right?
Not usually. They created one of the first, maybe, if only at that time, real communist
And you know?
countries. No, it fell apart already. So, I have talked with many people from Russia who lived during the Soviet Union, and I asked them about what it was like. And a few things that were interesting to me was that in America, probably in Thailand also, you imagine that when you're a kid, you grow up, if you want to sell something, you can, right? Like if you have some goldfish and you go outside and you say, okay, I'll sell you my goldfish for 5 baht, right? And if someone wants to buy them, that's nice. In the Soviet Union, you couldn't do that. The government owned all the businesses. If you went outside and you said, I'm going to sell these fish, the police will arrest you, right? You can't just sell anything that you want. You
Not
grow.
freedom.
Well, you can't make a business in a communist country. The government owns the businesses.
Kids.
Anyway, so the government owns the businesses in communism, and you have a job for sure. You can't be fired because the government owns the businesses, so you have a job for sure. But if you don't like your job, you can't leave unless the government has another job for you. So you can't just say, well, I don't like being on John's English show. I'm going to go to another English show. No. And the government says you have to do that job until we find a better job for you, or maybe you have to stay there forever. This book that teaches about communism is called the Communist Manifesto. It's a very famous book. I've read the Communist Manifesto, and many other people have not. I was not very impressed with it. It describes the problems of capitalism very well, but it doesn't really explain how to make communism very well. It just says like, well, hopefully things will work out, in my opinion. Also, in communism, there's not usually any religion. So in the Soviet Union, there was not really any religion. It wasn't necessarily closed, but I don't think there were very many churches or mosques or temples or anything like that, because the government owned everything. And
Believe in government.
not exactly. It's not that the government is God. It's just that the church needs money to run, and if the government owns anything, how are they going to get money? And the government didn't support. If the government doesn't support the church, then or the temple, then who else is going to be able to do it? Anyway, what have you ever heard of communism before?
I'm not sure. When I
Studied. What did? Okay.
In high school.
Okay. And what did they say?
Like you told me.
Oh, so I'm just repeating what you already learned.
Or like you can't own anything.
Okay.
And you can be rich. You can not poor, but normal. Everything is the same. Every people.
Not every people.
Everyone.
All people.
All people.
Everyone.
Everyone have the same life.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you want, the idea of communism is that you take all the money from the rich people and you give it to all the poor people, and then everyone will be rich. That's the idea of communism. The problem is that everyone ends up being poor. But if you don't show people that they're poor, then people don't care. So what happened was the Soviet Union stopped showing videos of other countries. So in the Soviet Union,
No internet.
well, it was before the internet. This was 100 years ago.
Oh.
But they stopped books coming, they stopped magazines coming, they stopped movies coming from other countries.
They made people dumb.
No, education was very good in the Soviet Union, but they didn't learn things about other countries, about America or about what capitalism was. They just learned science, math, technology. Usually people in the Soviet Union in Russia were educated very, very well. But they didn't have movies or music or anything from...
That's why they look serious.
I don't know if it's because of that. That might just be Russian people in general. But anyway, they didn't show movies about people from other countries. So Russian people didn't know that other people were rich. So the government thought, okay, if we don't show people, rich people,
right.
then people won't care if they're poor. It's okay. Everyone is the same. Everyone's happy. There's no rich people. There's no poor people. We're all the same. So everything will be beautiful. After that, though, eventually the Soviet Union collapsed, and all of the companies were distributed to some people, and they own most of those communist companies now that were owned by the government during the Soviet Union. People didn't really understand when the Soviet Union fell apart. They thought that it was a surprise. I remember I've seen videos. They asked people in Russia. There was a BBC reporter from London. He went to Russia. He asked people, why did the Soviet Union collapse? Why did the Soviet Union fall? And he said, the government pretended to pay us and we pretended to work. So the problem with communism is that if you know that you're going to get paid, then why do you work? Right? So if I say, Sipti, every day you come here, I will pay you. If you're happy or not, if you work hard or not, if you try or not, so why will you work hard?
But when
Right?
I learned, I thought they said, government said, police or soldier, military, what do you call, to control people to work.
Yes. But so then what you do is, if you know that you're going to be hurt if you don't work, then what you'll do is you'll just work hard enough so you don't get beaten by the police, but not so hard that you get tired. So everyone just tries to do the least that they can do so they don't get hurt.
The government didn't hit or...
Well, you go to the gulag. If you don't work hard or you do something wrong, then you go to the gulag. So in the beginning, everyone was really excited, and Russia grew the Soviet Union grew really, really fast, and everyone had a better life. But eventually, everyone said, well, if I work really, really, really hard, I'll have the same fridge and the same house. Why should I work hard, right? So eventually, the economy started to slow down, and it couldn't keep up with capitalist countries like the United States, and so it fell apart in 1991 or 1989, I can't remember. Anyway, so socialism. So there's capitalism, there's communism, and then there's the road to communism, which is called socialism. So some people think, if you ask people in Russia, that like I did, what do you think of communism? They say that communism is a dream that human beings are not ready to do. Communism is like heaven, it's perfect, but because human beings are garbage, we're not ready for communism yet. So people believe that before getting to communism, there should be some small steps first. And this is called socialism. So it's kind of the same as communism, but it's not like the Soviet Union. The government owns some things, but they don't own everything. Okay? So for example, in the United States, we have some socialism. We have Social Security when you're old. In the United States, like my mom, if you're 60, 65, the government gives you money so you don't have to starve on the street, right? This is a type of socialism. In the United States, though, we say we're capitalist, and the Soviet Union was communist, and we're going to fight against communism. But nowadays, it's not really capitalist and communist anymore. Now everyone is kind of socialist. If the government pays for your health care or for you to go to the hospital for free, like in many countries, that's socialism, right? Some countries are very, very socialist, near communism, and some countries are not very socialist, closer to capitalism. But there's not really any capitalist country yet. Capitalist country, there's no real capitalist country. It would be like just criminals running around. There would be no government, right? It would be, I wrote here, there was a lady, she said, Rosa Luxemburg, she said, there's either socialism or barbarianism. So
Barbarian.
that means like a monster, like
barbarian,
no,
like people in the forest.
yeah, exactly. So she said we have to have communism or socialism, otherwise we're just cavemen in the forest. So all countries are kind of socialist now. There's not really anyone who is 100% capitalist. There's a couple jokes that we say about communist countries, and one of them was told by American President Ronald Reagan, I think. So I'm going to try to tell it to you to see if you can understand the joke. Okay, so in communist countries, in the past, the government owned everything, and as you know, the government is slow. So things took a long time. Like right now, if you want to go to the hospital, if you have a lot of money, you can go and the doctor will see you right now, 24 hours a day. But in communism, because everyone is the same, you can't be special. You have to wait in line, and you have to wait a really long time.
You can die.
Maybe, but that's not the point. The point is it just takes a long time. Okay, so the joke goes like this: there's a communist guy, and he wants to get a car. He wants to get a car. Okay, so he goes to the communist car dealer, and he says, "Okay, I want to get a car," and the dealer says, "Okay," he says, "Give me the money, and then I will do the paperwork." So the guy gives him all the money for the car, and then they start to sign the papers and they get everything ready. And the dealer says, "Okay," he says, "I have the money." He says, "I have the papers." He says, "Okay, come back in 10 years and I will give you the car."
Because they had to wait other people before him.
Yes, exactly. Because they have to manufacture the cars, and you can't pay more.
Everyone's give the same.
Yeah, so you have to wait in line. Okay? So he says, you have to wait 10 years to get the car. And the guy says, "Okay." He says, "No problem." He says, "Should I come in the morning or in the nighttime?" And the guy at the car shop, he says, "Why do you care?" He says, it's 10 years. He says, why do you care? And the guy says, well, he says, because the plumber's coming in the morning.
What plumber?
Plumber. A plumber is the guy who fixes your toilet.
Oh.
So the joke is that everything in the Soviet Union took 10 years. Not just a car, but if you wanted to fix your toilet, or you wanted to fix your TV, or if you needed to fix your light, everything took 10 years. So the joke is that not just cars took 10 years, but also everything took a long time to get done. Also, we joke a lot that in communist countries, people were really, really poor and really, really hungry. So there's another joke that I liked that Ronald Reagan told about Poland.
Poland.
So, yeah, Poland.
I don't know.
Country, Poland.
Oh, Poland.
Yeah.
Poland.
Okay, so there's 3 dogs. There's an American dog, a Polish dog, and a Soviet dog. And they all meet up on the street. They're friends. And the American dog starts talking with the other 2 dogs. He says, yeah, guys. He says, in America, if you just keep barking, ruff, ruff. He says, just keep barking. Someday, or sometime, someone will come and give you some food. And the communist dog, the Soviet dog, says, what's bark? He doesn't understand what bark is, because in the Soviet Union, if you bark, they shoot you. And the Polish dog says, what's food?
Because no one will give.
Because he's never seen food before. So the joke, in America, we joke that in communist countries, there's no speaking and no food.
You can talk.
That's what we say in America. Anyway, nobody's really capitalist anymore. Everyone's just partially socialist. But in that time, from Lenin's time until 1991 or 2000, 20 years ago, it was the United States and Europe fighting with the Soviet Union. So it was called the Cold War. So a hot war is when you're actually fighting and killing people. A cold war just means you're getting ready to fight, but maybe nobody's
สงครามเย็น
nobody's dying yet. Lenin's body is still in a tomb in Moscow. It's called the mausoleum. And they don't let people in there very often, but they keep his body in a glass chamber. It looks like a coffin, but it's glass. And his body is still in there. They didn't put him in the ground
And
or
the
burn
same.
him. Yeah, you can see.
His body looks
yeah.
the same.
Well,
Like
it's been 100 years.
Stuck bug in something. Bug look.
Yeah, kind of like that. There's no air in there, nitrogen or something, I don't know. But his body is still in there. So they still have
Why
his
they
body.
keep? Why people keep?
Well, because he was so loved. He was a great person who imagined how to make communism make a perfect world for Russian people. Nowadays, maybe they don't really care about Lenin very much, but his body is still in that mausoleum in Moscow. In the United States, we don't really mind Lenin. I don't have any bad feelings of Lenin, really. But there was a guy who came after him who was called Stalin, who most people dislike and think he's bad. But Lenin, even in the United States, there are some people who like communism and want to make the United States communist. And most people
He
who
didn't do bad, but his idea just a little bit
well,
bad.
he did bad also, but we don't need to we don't need to go into all of those details. But anyway, Lenin is when you see Lenin, you think of communism and communist countries.
He looked like doctor.
He was very smart. I think he spoke.
Doctor in Norway.
Maybe,
If
but
like us.
but he was very, very smart. I think he spoke many, many languages. He was very well educated. And at that time, people didn't know. Nowadays, probably you think, oh, okay, communism is kind of crazy. But at that time, people thought it was going to be great. It was going to take a little bit of work. Everyone was going to get together and everyone would be happy and have a beautiful world together. A couple things that we laugh about Russia for was bears. Usually when American people think of Russians or communists, we think of a big bear because there were a lot of bears in the Soviet Union and in Siberia. Also the Russian gun, it's called a Kalashnikov, AK-47. You don't have Kalashnikovs in Thailand. Probably you have American weapons. I've seen army people in Thailand. You have M16s or American guns. But if you go to Laos or you go to Vietnam and you see the military there, they have a different gun. That gun comes from the Soviet Union. It's called a Kalashnikov.
Big and better, all the same.
It's just a different style. There are German and other ones, but most countries only can get the Russian one, the communist one, or the guns from the United States, weapons from the United States. The flag of the Soviet Union is very, very special. It was red, and there was a picture. If you look it up, you'll see there's a hammer. You know what a hammer is?
Corn.
For hitting nails.
All
Like this.
corn.
Ping, 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 ping. There's a hammer, and there's a sickle. A sickle is the one to get like this to get rice. So if you look on the communist flag, now Russia's flag has changed, but in the old Soviet flag, you'll see there's a hammer and a sickle. The hammer means for hard work, and the sickle is for farming. So they thought that to create this communist system, they had to have a lot of food and a lot of hard work. Anyway, also everyone knows about Chernobyl. So on April 26, 1986, the Soviet Union had a nuclear disaster called Chernobyl. And remember a nuclear power plant? Remember nuclear? So there's
What power plant?
to make electricity. So remember the dam, you can go to the dam and that can make electricity, or you can have electricity that comes from nuclear, right? Well, in Ukraine, the Soviet Union at that time, there was a problem, and this nuclear power plant, it exploded, and it spread nuclear radiation all over Europe and Russia. A lot of people died from sickness, and now you still can't go there because the radiation from the power plant will kill you.
Still there.
For 10,000 years, 100,000 years.
And no one can fix.
No, you can't fix it. So we call that time from 1946 to 1991 the Cold War. The United States and Europe, NATO, was fighting the Soviet Union and Russia. The United States and Europe were scared that the Soviet Union was going to take over Europe because Russia is really, really huge. And then Europe is very small. You know, France and Belgium and the UK and Italy is very small, and the Soviet Union was really huge, with a lot more military and a lot more guns than Europe. Okay, do we have time for all of this? Okay, so I have listened to a lot of people talking about communism and socialism, and I just want to explain what they say, the reason why socialism is so much better. So there's two stories. One of them is that if you are working for me and you get $20, what does that mean? If I pay you $20 for your work, what does that mean? How can I pay you $20 to work for me? Where does the money come from?
You government.
No, if I have a company, Pototo, if I own Pototo, and you come to work for me, and I pay you $20, where does the money come from? How do I get $20 to pay you?
From people.
Yes. So I sell something to someone else, I get $25, I give you 20.
$.
So that means that you are a slave. I'm getting 25 and I'm giving you 20. So really, you should be getting 25, is what they say. So they say, if you work for a capitalist company, then the capitalist company is making $25 from your work and only giving you 20. So usury or some type of slavery. So usually communists or socialists will say, you don't want to work for a capitalist country or company because the work that you're doing is making them rich. And you should be getting all of that money.
But because we don't have enough money to make some business or company, that's why we have to be slave.
Right, exactly. Okay, the other one is that where was it? There was another story that I don't seem to be able to find. There was another story though that I can't remember what he was telling. Okay, and then the Berlin Wall. So remember I said that, remember Elvis Presley?
A little bit.
Remember?
Berlin, I remember.
Remember
Berlin.
Elvis?
Berlin Wall.
But do you remember Elvis?
Elvis นักร้องเหรอ singer.
Yeah. So Elvis, remember I told you,
He said
he went to Berlin because
to be soldier.
Yes, because at that time, remember I told you, Berlin was cut into two sides. There was the east side and the west side. After World War II, after Hitler was killed, the Soviet Union took the east side of Germany, and the United States and Europe took the west side of Germany. And there was a wall between the two sides. The United States was always scared that the Soviet Union would come over the wall and take all of Europe. So there was a lot of American military there, and that's why Elvis had to go to serve at the wall to protect against the Soviet Union coming to invade. But he didn't have to fight or anything. They just stood there in case somebody decided to attack. There was just a lot of American military there, and there were soldiers there because of that. In 1989 November of 1989, the wall was taken down, and that was the end of communism. We say when the Berlin Wall, we say the Berlin Wall fell. Okay, anyway, so that is Lenin and
The
communism.
Berlin Wall fell, and after that, the communism gone. What you said at last sentence?
Then communism was. That's when we think that communism ended.
Ended.
Yeah. Now just socialism, different types of socialism, but that was a fight between the East and West. Okay, so let's hear Sipti's explanation of Lenin and communism.
A lot of details.
Just the simple things.
Lenin.
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 Who is Lenin? When they show you this and they say, "Hey, Sipti, who's this?" What are you going to say?
He was Russia.
Russian.
Russian.
Not Lushan. Russian.
Russian.
Yeah.
Russian people.
No, not people. He's just one.
Russian.
Russian.
Person. Russian.
Don't
He
say
was
Russian.
Russian.
Yeah.
He was Russian.
Mhm.
He had a brother.
You don't need to go through all the details. We just need the
He
overall.
started to learn about communism.
Communism. What's communism?
Communism from a book.
What's the name of the book?
Blah, blah.
Communist Manifesto. But what is communism?
Communism is about everything government own.
About everything? No.
Communism means people can't own anything.
It's not about can't. It's about just that the government owns everything. It's not about you can't own something. It's just that the government owns everything.
Communism is everything the government own.
It's not about though.
Communism is things government own.
No. Communism is a type of economy. Right?
So
It's a type of way of making an economy.
it's a type of way making economy.
In the Soviet Union, these people would have been sent to the gulag and made to shovel
be
coal
done or-
for the whole
no.
life. Anyway, we don't have enough time for Sibti to explain Lenin, but we'll have a second part where Sibti will explain to us the secrets of communism. Anyway, any questions?
No.
Okay, Sipti's friends came at the end. That was very exciting there.
friend.
That was good. We're going to send them to the gulag after our show. If you want to see Sipti taking over the Soviet Union, taking over the Soviet Union, and making communism, just add her on Instagram.
Thank you.
Or if you want to see
I think
Sipti,
good for you, na. Comedy.
if you want to see Sipti and her new friend, just add her on Instagram.
Doctor, who you like to say his name?
Dr. Lecter.
Yeah, I think.
No, not exact. Not that many
Dr.
people would say that.
Short face and Vegas.
Well, I think you're just imagining because Western people look kind of similar to you. That's all. Anyway, if you want to see Sipti and her new friend Lennon, just add her on Instagram. Thanks so much.
Bye
Bye bye.